Yum yum street food.
They're all leather.
Democracy brought, after communism, they brought capitalism. Very good. And you can see an example right here. A couple of years ago, I used to go to this place, you know, to meet people, have coffee, called Coffee Heaven, which is inside. There's like a little mall inside. We're gonna go in there. We're gonna pass by there, but it's gonna be empty probably. Maybe 1 or 2 people there, because 2 years ago they started a Starbucks, right? So now they have competition, and that's the pitfalls of capitalism. Poor Coffee Heaven, because now nobody goes there anymore, right? So we're gonna go down, and we're gonna go to the left, and I'm gonna show you. And Susan can talk about this when we're there. Remember the horse we saw? Wenceslas. There is a sculptor here in Prague, David Czerny, who's a very irreverent sculptor. You seen that big tower, that radio television tower? He's the one that sculpted those babies crawling up. You see babies crawling up? Then here you're going to see his version of the Wenceslas and his horse, which is fantastic. So follow me.
Oh, I like these seats, and oh, this is just great design. Look at that. Oh, turtles. Oh boy. Oh golly gee.
By inverting the horse and hanging the horse like this with its tongue out. He's obviously making some kind of a statement against sort of an established tradition or established idea, and there's a lot of sense of humor to his work too. And I don't know if you noticed when I got on the flight to Prague from Heathrow, I was instantly reminded about Czech people and their tendency, like Jose pointed out, towards intellectualism. Like us as Americans, if you were to ask us about, well, do you know the composers, the people who compose the symphonies, or how well read are we? Czech people know all that stuff. They're highly, highly well-read and intellectual. And on the plane, I noticed all the Czech people are reading. That's what they do. They're reading all the time. And a lot of the symbolism you'll see in the art of Czech people with books. But an artist like David Czerny, who's alive today, he's a current present-day artist, is also part of a healthy Czech tradition, which has a lot to do with a kind of a fierce sense of nationalism. And a lot of it has to do with where the Czech Republic is located. You know it's landlocked, and there's always been these invasions, these constant influences of other nationalities or other countries coming in, moving through and moving out. So Czechs are fiercely national, and they're very private people too. Like you'll notice, or for example, there are 1.2 million Czech people living in Prague, and there are 7 million of us coming through every year visiting. And to them, we're just a mass going past. So it's very difficult to kind of infiltrate what Czech people are doing. One thing you might have noticed last night, if you were awake, you heard people singing in the streets. Sometimes Czech people will do that. They'll play soccer, they'll do something, and then they'll walk through their streets singing. Back to David Czerny, this sense of irreverence is very welcome in Czech identity, a healthy skepticism. And we as Americans relate to that too, because we also have a healthy skepticism about our government. It's very American to be unhappy with the government or suspicious of the government. Czech people are also that way, so we share that with them. So prior to the influence of the Nazis coming in, we asked the question, what was the philosophy underlying Czech people? And I asked Václav Havel's brother this at one of the panel discussions we were watching. I think he was half asleep, but they poked him to wake him up for that question. Like, oh, philosophy question, that's for him. So he perked up and he goes, phenomenologists, and I think he went back to sleep. But what does he mean by phenomenologists? They're scientists, and that also is the basis for how we think too. When we want to know the truth of the matter, we turn to science.
That he and a group of people could never fight a communist system. It's impossible. So he tried to figure out a way how to do it. And he came up with a very good way. Some people say it was impractical. He said his whole basis was living in truth. If you live in truth as an individual, eventually the lies will shatter away. You know, and that's what happened. And he has this amazing essay. For those who want to get into this further, one of his most famous essays is called The Power of the Powerless. Because they didn't have any power yet. They ended up being the victors. So it's an amazing man. And I bring him up because this whole complex was owned by his father. And since we're on this topic, you know, the Holocaust studies class is not here. They're a different group. But a movie just opened up that I want to recommend to you. It opened up June 2nd, which was 2 days ago, and I came to the opening here. There's a theater here. And it's called Lidice. And Lidice, and that's the poster right there. What is this program?
And there.
Yeah, and up here too. The big one. Yeah, the big one over here.
Oh, I've seen it around.
Lidice, for those of you who don't know, was the name of a town 20 kilometers from Prague. And during the Nazi time, Hitler's right-hand man, the guy that began the whole idea, which was called the final solution to the Jewish problem, which was to exterminate them, was a man by the name of Reinhard Heydrich. And Hitler put him in charge here in Prague. He was in the castle.
Got a bandage. Filming. Pharmacy. It's adventure time. The sun is so bright. Those are some fancy shoes.
It's gotta be all in Ska je achter me?
Music bar. Also, I found that obviously in tourist areas, things are way more expensive.
Coins.
Coins?
Yes.
Store over there with the gun lighter. The little old Asian guy has all these lighters where you pull like what you think would like start the lighter, and it shocks you, but it isn't really shocking you. It just vibrates really fast. It's just like pull the trigger on that gun. And I'm like, oh okay, and I pull it, and it fucking shocks me, and I'm like, ugh. And then you pull the little other thing. And then with Wesley, he had a card lighter where when you pull the normal lighter switch, it shocks you, but then there's like you flip the card and it turns on. Just little prank things, and they're fun. 400 crown.
First prize 450, for you 400 pounds.
I don't know. It's a little tight.
380 is good. Okay?
What if...
Does it work better now?
What?
Work better now?
Well, it's still tight, but it's cooler. Let me see how it looks like. Couldn't resist buying it. And I got this for Chris. It's a pin for his hat. Or at least I hope it'll be able to go into his hat. So just walking.
I'm a little bit underwhelmed from the pickpocketing situation. I'm pretty...
I'm leaving a US dollar in my back pocket.
Yeah.
I like check it every now and then. I'm like, I wonder if anyone's gonna pickpocket this $1. I figure it's just $1, so if it gets pickpocketed, you're just like, oh wow, it actually happens. Everyone's... I forgot that this was a real street still. Everyone's looking at me because I'm wearing a Soviet hat, and the city's all about freedom from Soviet control.
Made for a reason.
Yes, they were. I forgot that this was a real street. I'm used to it, like in like Times Square, you know, like where no one really drives on it. Well, I guess people still drive on us, yeah. Soviets are not accepted in the Czech Republic anymore.
Oh.
So, I don't know, what time it is? No, I have no idea. I don't have a watch or anything. About water.
God, they're scared of me.
There's one of
already.
those.
If they weren't scared of me because I was so much taller than them, if I get on the same level, is the only thing. Come over here. Your soul is mine.